Welcome to Sacred Heart today. We have a wonderful day here in Atherton, California. For those of you watching on the NorCal Sports TV network on YouTube, really exciting matchup today between Bellarmine of San Jose against Sacred Heart Prep of Atherton, two of the top teams in Northern California squaring off today in the semifinals of the WCAL playoffs. This is Tom Barnes. I'm here joined by my colleague Greg Weigel. Greg, pleasure to see you today.
Thanks, Tom. Pleasure to see you too. I think there are a couple really interesting storylines here to watch in the game. In the previous meeting earlier in the season, Sacred Heart Prep was able to win a close one, but really much more of Bellarmine's style of play. Bellarmine likes to slow the ball down, try to control possessions, and have a really slow pace of play, whereas Sacred Heart Prep wants to speed the game up a little bit more, use some more of their athletes, and have a higher scoring game. So Sacred Heart Prep was able to prevail last time, despite really playing at Bellarmine's pace. So it'll be interesting to see who can control tempo and sort of exert their will on the game.
I think it's a great point. You really have two contrasting styles of lacrosse today, and it probably reflects the coaches' personalities a bit. Sacred Heart likes to play up tempo. They like to push the ball. They play smart. They don't turn the ball over that often, but they do like to push the pace and the tempo, and their scores frequently are they have a lot of scores. They've been scoring 10, 15, 20 goals a game. Bellarmine, as you point out, Greg, really plays a different style both of offense and defense. I'm sure you'll be hearing this again and again from us today if Bellarmine plays like they have this season and in the past. They have a very different style. Slow the ball down on offense, spin the ball around 2, 3, 4 times around. In that earlier game you talked about, it was a 6-3 Sacred Heart win. I saw Bellarmine a number of times have people open early in a possession, and as opposed to feeding them the ball early in the possession, they decided to keep spinning the ball around and take time off the clock. So I think you'll see, if the past is any predictor of the future, you probably see, as you said, a controlled game from Bellarmine. Sacred Heart probably trying to push the tempo. It'll be interesting too, Greg, defensively, what the teams come out with today. Sacred Heart traditionally has been an aggressive man-to-man defense. Bellarmine has shown aggressive man-to-man D, also shown a lot of zone this year.
That's right, Tom. I would say that is very much in line with Sacred Heart Prep's overall style and what they like to do. They're going to come out and try to pressure you and turn the tempo up early in the game and really get in your head. They tend to be a quick starting team and have a lot of success when they're able to get off to a quick start. Dahlkemper with an early face-off win. That's another key, Tom. Joey Dahlkemper has been absolutely fantastic this year for Sacred Heart Prep in controlling the possessions at the face-off X. If he's able to do that and keep the ball out of the hands of Bellarmine, that's a big key for Sacred Heart Prep, and he won that one really cleanly, was able to pop it out to himself, and now he's going to the goal one-on-one, and that shot's going to be backed up by Joe Sonsini, who picks up a nice ground ball off the end line. good to see senior attackman Jack Crockett back out on the field today for Sacred Heart Prep. Number 9 in white, the senior attackman going to Princeton next year, has been out for the majority, at least the second half of the season, ever since the Redwood game.
It's a very interesting storyline, Greg. Jack has been the leading scorer at Princeton at Sacred Heart the last 3 years, and as you said, had an injury earlier this year. And Sacred Heart's really had to adjust. But seeing him back out there, he's a senior. He's extremely talented. He's also a great leader for this team, and so I think it's given Sacred Heart a real shot in the arm. Also because they're missing one of their. And
there it is right away. Crockett from junior midfielder Tom Barnes.
Sacred Heart goal by Jack Crockett. Assist by number 7, Tommy Barnes.
And this is a really beautiful playtime. You'll see the setup here on replay. Bellarmine's in a zone defense, and Tom Barnes is able to penetrate the defense from up top. The top defender actually looks like he slipped, and when they slid up the field, Crockett was right there on the back doorstep to bury it. And boy, great to see the senior back out there. First play back in, first time he touches the ball, scores a goal.
Really was impressive, and as we'll talk through the course of the telecast about various kids and their where they intend to continue their careers in college. Jack Crockett heading to Princeton next year, and Tommy Barnes is committed to Princeton. He's a junior, so still a lot of lacrosse left, but interesting to see the two Princeton commits.
The Tiger connection.
The first goal.
That's great stuff, and that was looked like a face-off violation on Dahlkemper. Jumped early. And now we'll see this Bellarmine offense, see how patient they are. It's Sacred Heart Prep jumping up 1-0 doesn't necessarily change anybody's plans in this game. If they can score a few more, that might open up Bellarmine and force them to play at a faster pace. But you can see it right away. They started out in a zone defense and, don't look to be attacking to score right away, patiently moving the ball around. Looks like that style of play will continue.
That was Ben Cunningham for Bellarmine, number 15, moving the ball. Here comes a shot from number 16, Ben Craftsman, over the cage. Bellarmine backs up, so they retain possession. Out there, you'll see in the course of today, Sacred Heart, there's another difference between these two teams. It's the level of experience of each team. Bellarmine has a very senior-heavy team today, and I think has only one freshman on the varsity roster, at least for most of the season. Sacred Heart gets contributions from 6 freshmen, and the person starting that initial possession, guarding the ball, was John Carter, number 31, a freshman defenseman for Sacred Heart.
That's a great point, Tom, and you'll see on the field right now for Bellarmine, several seniors and several juniors, including the player we just saw with the ball there, Grassman. And now senior midfielder J.R. Armistead passes it back up to Grassman. So that's a junior to senior, and having some upperclassmen experience really can be a big advantage in a postseason game like this. I think another interesting storyline, along with the pace of play issue, is the refs' ability or willingness to put on a stall warning early in a possession against Bellarmine. And I would say that at this point in time in this possession, they've had one early shot, but haven't really played any offense for 30 or 40 seconds. And there you go, there's another shot. So that'll keep the timer off.
Right. So, Greg, explain to us, if you could, what do you mean by stall warning, for those who know a little bit less about the rules of the game?
Sure, Tom. So in high school lacrosse, there is no shot clock. And so pace of play has become an issue, and we saw that in college lacrosse, really in sort of the mid to late 2000s. And the NCAA has put in a shot clock. So if a referee feels as if a team is not going to the goal, they can put in a shot clock. In high school, there is no shot clock, but you're just required to keep the ball inside of the restraining box until a shot is generated that either goes in the goal or hits the goalie, forces the goalie to make a save. So you can't just shoot and miss. Really athletic play there by Cody Weeb, the goalie for Sacred Heart. You don't see goalies extend out that far typically. Nice bit of athleticism and stick handling for Weeb, who hits an open Johnny Carroll for the clear. Tommy Barnes with the ball, dodging down the alley, looking for the slide. No slide, so he rips one and puts it right by the goalies here. Nice shot by number 7, Tommy Barnes, unassisted. Sacred
Sacred Heart goal by number 7, Tommy Barnes, unassisted.
And this is a really beautiful goal, Tom. You'll see Tommy is covered initially on the dodge. Since Bellarmine's playing in his zone, he kind of was in that crease between the top wing defenseman and the low defenseman. When the low defenseman slid up, the top defenseman stopped playing him for a second. Barnes re-engaged and was open for the shot. A really beautiful shot into the top left corner. Well placed by the Princeton commit, Barnes.
Back to the face-off circle. It's a 1-1 on the day today between the two teams. And again, as Greg had said earlier, this is going to be a very important matchup at the face-off circle. They're battling for it right now. Alex Bean comes in for the ground ball. Very impressive sophomore. Very big, athletic player for Sacred Heart.
A natural left-hander too, Tom, which is can be a real matchup problem for attackmen who are used to dodging against right-handers. Here we go, Barnes initiating from the top again. Throws down the wing to Sonsini. Sonsini behind to X with Crockett. Crockett throws to the wing, back to younger brother Billy Barnes. There's actually a couple brothers on the field today, Tom. The first of which would be the Barnes brothers, freshman Billy Barnes and junior Tommy Barnes. Tommy has got a goal and an assist so far in today's game. Here's Sonsini dodging on the wing. Junior Joe Sonsini throws up to sophomore Wilson Wisel. Wisel's going to dodge the right alley, pull back out, throw across to Barnes. Barnes is going to settle things back up. The zone defense looks like it's given SHP a little bit of problems on that one, Tom.
Yeah, good ride here by right back. And
what a play by Peterson.
Nice play by William Peterson. Really physical. You mentioned brothers playing before. William anchored the defense with his brother David last year. David now playing at Lehigh, and just looked like flashes of his brother out there, who was a very physical, very good lacrosse player, and a really nice play by William to get the ball back.
Yeah, and Peterson's a guy who was really challenged by Coach Rotelli earlier this season to sort of step up his level of aggression and assertiveness on the field, and he's done that all season long. That play on the sideline was a great example of that. Sacred Heart Prep back on offense here. Re-engages with Sonsini. Sonsini to Barnes. Barnes across the top to Wisel. Wisel to Barnes. Barnes behind to Crockett. You can really see the stick work here, Tom. Sacred Heart Prep moving the ball effortlessly around. Crockett with a nice dodge from X, generating a great look, and a nice save by the Bellarmine goalie, who quickly outlets up the field to number 21, Tommy Hughes. Hughes now throws down the wing and finds a streaking Jack Deveined. Jack Deveined, a senior, going to Marquette next year. Really tough, physical, hard-nosed player, can face off, plays great defense, is mostly used on the offensive end for the Bells this season.
They just had a very good scoring opportunity there. Rarely do you see someone get that open right down the center of the field. Fortunately for Sacred Heart, he shot it just a bit high, but he had some real heat on that shot. Here we are now, back to Bellarmine on offense.
Bellarmine engages from behind, up the left wing from X, throws up top, back down the right wing.
And you might be wondering, what is the basic concept here for Sacred Heart on defense? What they're very much trying to do, the Bellarmine is so strong at midfield, they're trying to force the middies down the side. There's a Bellarmine goal, making the score 2-1.
Number 6, junior Joe Shea with the goal. On a nice move inside, and was able to sneak by the defense and beat goalie Wiebe.
Bellarmine goal by number 6, Joe Shea, unassisted.
Not much goalie Cody Wiebe could do on that one. Kind of left alone to try to make a save. He's had an incredible season, though. A couple of games in particular really stand out to me. The Marin Academy game, as well as the St. Ignatius game. Another face-off win for Sacred Heart Prep, but they're having trouble clearing. Bellarmine wins the ground ball and takes over possession.
Oh, fine save by Cody. That's a tough shot for a goalie. Oh, looks like another one's coming.
Ooh. Great feed from the back door from number 18, Owen Bennett, to number 13, sophomore Laden Corrigan, who's able to bury it.
Bellarmine goal by number 13, Lawton Corrigan, is first. Well, it shows the importance, Greg, of kind of handling the face-offs cleanly. Joey Dahlkamper, number 16 for Sacred. He's winning generally the face-offs, getting control, but the face-off is not over until it is in someone's stick and they really get it into the offensive zone and into the box. And Sacred Heart is winning the draws, having a little bit of trouble getting the ball cleanly and getting into the box.
That's right, Tom. Yeah, that's the old adage in lacrosse. A face-off isn't won until you have it in your offensive box, and you can see senior midfielder Jack Deveined there. Didn't necessarily win the draw cleanly, but is able to win that ground ball and therefore win the face-off, win the possession. Interesting to see that Bellarmine isn't using him and keeping him on the field, but it looks like they're going to reserve him some for face-offs.
Also interesting, Bellarmine seems to be pushing the pace a little more than we had expected. They've maybe it's just been a little bit more in transition, but they've been a little more up tempo than at least certainly I expected today.
I would agree with that, Tom. If you look at some of Bellarmine's scores, their games where they're scoring 4, 3, 4, 5 goals a game. They had a big win over SRV earlier this year, where they only scored 4 goals. So they've already doubled their per quarter output so far in this game.
Shot and a save, fine save again by Cody Weeb in goal, off of a really quick and hard shot. Now Sacred Heart's bringing it up.
Beautiful transition play there. Quick outlet to John. And a goal by freshman Billy Barnes in transition.
Sacred Heart goal by number 4, Billy Barnes, unassisted.
That play really starts back on a great save by Weeby. Weeb throws the quick outlet pass. Outlet immediately transitions to a breaking Alex Bean. Bean to Barnes, and Barnes pushes it in transition. And then finishes the play off with a beautiful shot inside high. That's 2 Barnes brothers scoring inside high. Maybe they must be practicing that at home together.
Well, and I think the thing that if you're a coach you like seeing there is, I think that Billy had a lane, it got kind of cut off, and he didn't quit on the play. He kept pushing and got a step, got his hands free. You talk a lot about getting your hands free in lacrosse. It doesn't take a lot to get a good hard shot off, but you do need to get your hands free from a defender's stick, and Billy was able to do that on that play.
Another clean win for Dahlkamper. You can see Dahlkamper got the ball cleanly on the draw, was able to actually sit and wait and find his player who he wanted to rake the ball out to, put it directly to Bean, and Gators are back on offense again. Nice knockdown by Bellarmine. Bellarmine looks like they're struggling at early defense, getting settled into their zone, and maybe missing some assignments. That's an opportunity potentially for Sacred Heart. Bellarmine looks to clear the ball now. Sacred Heart rides in a 2-man down scenario where 2 attackmen are covering the goalie and 2 defensemen, leading to scenarios like this so you can collapse onto the ball into the midfield. That's a really nice ride by Sacred Heart Prep. And I'd say that's been one of their strengths all year, Tom, is they are a really hard riding team, and that comes down to attitude, and that comes from the coach. I know that's something Coach Rotelli really prioritizes.
Good recovery there by Wilson Wisel on a tough pass. He handled it well. That was Crockett trying to feed the Crease. And now we're going up and down the field here, which a little different again than what we expected today. Bellarmine's pushing it up the field. Now they're moving it behind. Probably going to try to get their key guys on the field here and slow it down just a little. We're down under 2 minutes. It's a great game, 3-2. We expected a close game. We expected a low-scoring game. We may get one of the two, but it's just a minute and 15 seconds left in the first period.
Now, at this point in time, despite the fast pace of play, I would really expect Bellarmine to play for a last shot here. Inside of just about a minute left in the game, given the score, given Sacred Heart Prep's ability to win the majority of face-offs, and that looks to be what they're doing, not generating any looks real early here.
I think that's a good point, and it looks like that is exactly what they're doing.
This is junior attackman Owen Bennett controlling the ball now, number 18. Throws behind to sophomore midfielder Evan Kaiser. So some youth on the field for Bellarmine as well, Tom. That's sophomore midi to there's 3 sophomores on the field right now, so some youth all around.
30 seconds left, and if you're Bellarmine, you're probably looking to isolate Wilson Wisel behind. He's a short stick, and normally you're trying to find the short stick. You tend not to dodge as much on the long sticks. A little harder to get by, so wouldn't shock me if they tried to isolate on a short stick.
That's a great point, Tom. And here's that matchup you talked about. Wisel does a nice job getting a trail check.
An excellent job, and Sacred Heart is able to some fine defense there at the end to finish the quarter up 3-2.
So that's the score here at the end of the first half on the NorCal Sports Network on YouTube. 3-2, Sacred Heart Prep leads. Welcome back to the beginning of the second quarter here at the Bellarmine SHP game. Sacred Heart Prep leads Bellarmine 3-2. And another scoring update we just received. Menlo is tied with SI at the end of the first quarter, 1-1 in the other WCAL semifinal game.
This game is the number 1 seed against the number 4. That's the number 2 seed versus the number 3. And the winner of each game will play on Friday at the higher seed's home field at 3:30.
Got a real scrap here on the face-off.
First quarter face-offs favored Sacred Heart 4-2.
And that is going to favor Bellarmine on a push on Sacred Heart Prep.
Loose ball push on Sacred Heart. Bellarmine ball.
Bellarmine gets the ball in the box. Tom, in lacrosse, you have only 10 seconds with possession to get the ball into your box, the restraining box. Once you've crossed midline, you have 20 seconds to clear the ball over half when clearing the ball out of your defensive half.
I think it's really helped with the pace of play. That's a rule that was probably instituted 5 or 10 years ago, I think. Maybe it's been longer than that, but it really has helped. It pushes the pace of play. Number 7 with a shot there with another fine save by Cody Weeb. Let's see if they can clear the ball.
That's right. That's senior midfielder Jack Deveined. We've talked about him earlier in the broadcast. He was covered by freshman Paul Barton, and Barton is a really impressive young athlete. Sky's the limit for that kid.
You may recognize the name. His father was a professional football player, Harris Barton, for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sacred Heart turns the ball over on the clear. Bellarmine will start with it at midfield. This is junior midfielder Ben Grassman. He had a goal earlier in the game. The first goal for Bellarmine, I believe. Throws back over the top to Cottingham. Cottingham dodges over the top to the right alley, and a nice shot overhand, high to low, and a beautiful save by Cody Wiebe. Cody's really seeing the ball well today, Tom.
Very well said. And Cody, like a lot of goalies, they can play a little bit streaky, and he has had a fantastic year. And he is really seeing the ball well all year. But goalies are, they get on streaks, and that's really good from Sacred Heart's standpoint to see him seeing the ball as well as he is today.
And a turnover there by Bellarmine. Nice defense by Sacred Heart Prep. You can see senior defenseman Jack Brigger as the slide guy there, really doing a nice job hedging into the dodging lane, forcing the roll back, and then they were able to meet the pass with a nice check on their gloves. Sacred Heart in transition now.
Bellarmine's pushing out. They're playing the ball aggressively. Again, Bellarmine has played a lot of zone this year, where you sit back a little bit more and you try to make the offense take outside shots. Today, you see it. They're pressuring the ball and making Sacred Heart beat them.
Ooh. Turnover there by Jack Crockett. They just didn't see the Bellarmine player there. And now Bellarmine controls the ball at X.
Sacred Heart's playing with 5 people on defense. Here comes Alex Bean in. That was they were short a man for a moment. So good recognition. Way to get the man on. And now they're all even.
Now that's a big priority for lacrosse teams, Tom, is being able to get that fourth long stick defender on when transitioning from offense to defense. But that can leave you in scenarios like that where you're playing with a man down for just a second if not everybody's on the same page.
Bellarmine dodging, initiating from behind. Covered by the freshman, John Carter. Another nice save by Cody Wiebe.
Really great defense there by Carter. He maintained his topside position, forced him back underneath to a low-angle shot, and Wiebe is a great goalie. He was all over that, took away the inside pipe, made him go to the backside, and snuffed it out.
Got a little overzealous with the clear. He threw it just over the head of his of Johnny Carroll, and it's led to a turnover. Sacred Heart's going to try to ride this back. And they are having some success doing that.
Yeah, Jack Deveined just put his shoulder down and tried to go through Jack Crockett. Jack Crockett stood his ground well, and that's a failure to advance call. So Sacred Heart Prep will get the ball back as Bellarmine had the ball in their defensive zone for 20 seconds and was unable to clear.
And there's 2 ways to get a failure to advance call, and I think we just saw one of them. You have 20 seconds to get the ball out of your defensive zone and across the midfield line. Once you get it across the midfield line, you have 10 seconds to get it into the offensive box past the restraining line. That was the 20 seconds failure to clear call.
And there seems to be some confusion here on the field, Tom, as to the call and what happened. But it looks like they've got it figured out in Sacred Heart possession now as Larry Hart touches the ball into the top of the box, looking to sort of settle up and run a little offense here. This has been sort of a little bit of a frenetic up and down start to the second quarter after a pretty clean first quarter. So I think Sacred Heart Prep would really like to have a good possession, take a little bit of time off the clock, let everybody get a touch, and really settle in and start to run good sixes offense.
I completely agree. It also gives your defense a little. They've been playing a lot of defense, and I think it's good to get a possession. Let your defense get a little bit settled, and so they've moved it around a couple times. Wouldn't be surprised to see him initiate here. Ooh, a penalty. Not sure what that is. That looks like a slash.
It's going to be a slash on senior defenseman Dante Bravo. Just got a little overzealous with the check. Got up and brushed the face mask of Teddy Vaught.
Slash on Bellarmine. Sacred Heart will be man up.
Interesting. It looks like Sacred Heart Prep's going to have to take a timeout here, Tom. Ben Ramsey, a really sensational.
Timeout, Sacred Heart.
To finish that thought, Ben Ramsey, a really sensational freshman for Sacred Heart Prep, is out for today. He is sick. And he's on their man-up unit. Jack Crockett, who came back today, took his place. But it appears Crockett may have been injured on the play with Deveined when he got hit, and is out of the game now. So Sacred Heart's going to have to regroup here, and Coach Fratelli's going to have to sort of redesign the man-up unit on the fly right now.
And that's not an easy thing to do. These teams, these man-up and man-down units, which are, if you're a hockey fan, this is the equivalent of the power play. They practice together. They run plays together. And so not having it looks like Crockett's back in.
Good news, Tom. It looks like he just broke his stick and was actually getting his backup tuned in.
Well, if you're a Sacred Heart fan, that's very good news. And Jack, again, leading scorer for Sacred Heart the last 3 years. And that's not an easy thing to do as a freshman. He came in. Sacred Heart had some of their best players that they've ever had graduate the year before. Players like Sean Mayle and Frankie Hattler. And Jack stepped right in and became the leading scorer for Sacred Heart as a freshman and has maintained that over time. So it's great to see him back on the field. Injuries have been a big story for Sacred Heart this year. And today they're missing Cav Williams, who's one of their top defenders, and Greg, as you'd said, Ben Ramsey, one of their top midfielders.
Well, injuries are a part of every season, Tom. It seems like the Gators have been kind of snake-bitten this year as it comes to injuries. Good motion here so far as they move from a 1-4 into a 2-3-1. This is Barnes up top. Throws back to Wisel. Wisel inside to Crockett. Crockett, a shot from the crease. He was kind of tied up, but still able to get one off.
Good backup by Joe Sonsini. Sacred Heart's back on the attack.
Sonsini initiates up top to Wisel. Wisel to Barnes. Now they flow into a 3-3. A lot of movement in between sets here by the Gators, which is what you'd expect to see from these guys, and what you'd hope to see from a good man-up unit. Inside to Crockett. Crockett, low to high, beautiful shot.
Sacred Heart goal by number 9, Jack Crockett. Assist by number 7, Tommy Barnes.
And that's that Tiger connection again, Tom. Barnes to Crockett. That has been a successful duo for the Gators so far today.
And it's just great to see Jack out there. But that shows, just penalties really can come back to bite you. That was, I think Bellarmine had some really good momentum, probably had been winning the period to that point just in terms of time of possession and just overall play. And a slash penalty leading to a Sacred Heart goal can change the momentum.
Absolutely, Tom. It's like shooting free throws in basketball. You're not finding the net, you're having some trouble, and all of a sudden you get some free ones, and it can really help ignite you and flip the momentum. In a game like this, goals are not necessarily going to be easy to come by. As Dahlkemper wins the ground ball, but as you talked about earlier, Tom, it's not just winning the face-off, it's controlling possession.
Timeout, Bellarmine. Bellarmine uses their first timeout, and I think what you see in a tight game like this, every possession matters. And I think the Bellarmine coach sensed, didn't love the matchup that he saw. He had a long stick, pick up the ball in traffic, and sometimes that can be a recipe for a turnover. So you get 2 timeouts per half. I think the Bellarmine coach wisely used one of those timeouts there to make sure they get a good possession here, they get their players on the field. And they certainly don't want to go down 3. Right now they're down 4-2 with 6:26 left in the second quarter.
With that, we'll take a break. Be right back. And we're back live now as Sacred Heart Prep returns to the field. Here comes Bellarmine. Looks like senior midfielder J.R. Armistead is going to pick up the ball. He's double-teamed right away by Sonsini and Barnes. You see this a lot in lacrosse, Tom. Anytime a short stick midfielder picks up the ball this close to the midfield on his defensive end, there's going to be a double team with at least one of the attackmen.
Bellarmine successfully clears the ball, gets a touch in the box to set the clock. Now they'll move the ball around.
This is Ben Cottingham. Cottingham behind the goal to Bennett. Interesting story about number 18, Owen Bennett. He's actually one of the coach's son, Pat Bennett.
I did not know that.
Now we're back up top to Shea. Shea dodges the left alley, left-handed. Really well defended by Bean, who was in his gloves the whole time and was able to affect the shot a lot. Here's freshman John Carter doing a really nice job again. That was sophomore that was junior Owen Bennett again on the dodge against Carter. Here's Paul Barton with a short stick now, and again, really good individual defense by a young Sacred Heart Prep defender.
Did just what you're supposed to do defensively in that situation. You want to force the man down the alley. That's down the side. You do not want to let the player get to the middle of the field. The goal gets bigger when the player gets to the middle of the field. So you want to do what you can to keep the player down the side. Just like that, your goalie is he knows what you're trying to do. He's trying to force you down the side, which reduces the angle. Goalie gets in the right position to make the save. I think we're going to have a loose ball push.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate call, Tom.
Loose ball push on Sacred Heart, Fellerman ball.
I'd be interested to see that again on replay, but from what I saw live, it looked like Peterson threw a really clean check, and then the kid tripped. No real fault of the Gators, but such are the breaks.
15 on the dodge, moving the ball around again. Very patient, very patient.
Bennett to Corrigan. Corrigan up top to Shea. Shea kicks it over to the right alley. This is junior midfielder Cottingham. Cottingham throws over to Connor McCauley. Connor McCauley is a senior attackman. And now a beautiful rollback. And that shot looks like it hit the pipe. Again, like we were talking about, Tom, you can see him drive the alley and then roll back to try to get into the middle of the field.
The offense is trying to get to the middle of the field. Defense is trying to keep him out of the middle of the field. It's a lot of lacrosse defense just comes down to that very basic concept.
What have you seen from the Gators so far today, Tom, in terms of their slides and recovery and overall team defense? I know that's something you have a lot of experience with from your days playing at Princeton.
I have a lot of passion for defense, and I think they're doing a very good job. The slides you generally will see where the player dodging from the top. You want to see a slide come from the crease. If it comes too early, you got problems because then you usually leave someone open on the crease before your next slide can get there. If you slide too late, player can get a good shot off. So I think Sacred Heart's doing a very good job. The goals that Bellarmine has had have generally not come on dodges where there hasn't been a slide. So I think so far so good. So far so good. You see it again. They've been dodging a lot from the top, almost a weave of sorts where they move the ball around the top, set some picks, try to get a step or two off of a pick. Here's a dodge from behind.
Interesting choice there by Bennett to dodge while Bellarmine was subbing. They actually were able to just put their long stick midfielder right onto the field because the player was already off.
Interesting. And smart play by William Peterson there. That was a shot, and instead of picking the ball up 2 or 3 feet from the sideline with a man on him, he just basically hugged the ball right to the sideline, and whoever is closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds on a shot gets the ball. And so William made a very smart play there. I've seen a lot of people make a different decision there, but that was a very smart play by William Peterson.
We only have 2:40 left here, Tom. 4-2 Sacred Heart Prep lead. Really been sort of a tale of 2 quarters. The first quarter was up and down and really clean. The second quarter has been very low scoring. Bellarmine has not scored at all in this quarter. Sacred Heart only once. We'll see if the Gators can get something going. And that goal was off of the penalty. Ooh, potential step-down opportunity there for Johnny Carroll off of the Barnes dodge. See if Wisel can initiate some offense here from up top. He throws down the wing to Carroll. Carroll looks to throw the ball behind DeVault, who's covered up by Bravo. Up top to Barnes. Barnes steps in from distance and hits the pipe. Boy, Barnes is really feeling it today, Tom. That was a 15-yard shot and had the goalie completely beaten.
Yeah, Lacrosse is a game of inches. That shot was just a little bit lower. It's a goal. Instead, bounces back the other way, goes to the Bellarmine offensive end.
And in for the Gators for the first time today, sophomore defender Will Watchhorse, number 17.
Another young player on the Sacred Heart squad. Will's just a sophomore, been getting increasing time over the course of the year, and been playing a lot of short stick defensively. Today he's got a long stick.
I think that probably comes back to Cav Williams' injury, right? Gators are looking to fill that spot. Here's Watchhorse on ball. Deveined dodges left, slide by Wisel. Wisel recovers back to the middle now.
And it's just exactly what you were talking about there, that Wisel slid, got back in, and released someone from the crease to go cover an outside man. It's a really textbook defense right there.
Yeah, and there, Sacred Heart Prep slides. Bellarmine's able to get the ball to the backside. Sacred Heart Prep does a nice job recovering out. William Peterson getting out to Deveined. Here's Bennett behind the goal. Throws behind to Connor McCauley.
50 seconds left. 50 seconds left in the half.
And just like you were talking about at the end of the first quarter, Tom, they're looking to isolate against that short stick, and they're effectively able to do that. Beat a guy, they try to cut her on the crease. I believe that was number 26, Jimmy Rowe with the goal, but we'll see on the replay here. Yeah, 26, Jimmy Rowe.
Goal by number 26, Jimmy Rowe.
When you see that on the replay, Tom, it's a well drawn up play. Number 13, sophomore Laden Corrigan cuts the crease ahead of number 26, Rowe. That takes the crease defender with him, and then Rowe was left open. This is Sacred Heart, Bellarmine ball. And I could not tell what the call was.
Yeah, that's not clear what that was actually, and it looks like Bellarmine may be taking their second and final timeout of the half. Timeout call.
And we're back live now with 32 seconds remaining in the first half. Sacred Heart Prep leads 4-3. Coming out of the Bellarmine timeout, what do you expect to see from the Bells, Tom?
Well, I think you're going to see him play for a last shot. There's not a lot of time, so they may go relatively quickly. But I don't think they want Sacred Heart to get the ball back. Fed the crease. Wow, nice pass. Number 7, nice finish.
And Deveined to Corrigan on the goal. Really well drawn up play. You can see a little pick play on the crease involving midfielder Ben Cottingham.
Bellarmine goal by number 13, Lawton Corrigan.
Corrigan comes off of that pick, and Deveined finds him. Now, the play coming out of the timeout. Well done by Bellarmine and head coach John Alpizar.
Well, there's a lot of people who subscribe to theory. You see how good a coach is based on what happens right after a timeout. And I think based on that, it was a really well-designed play, as you said, and well executed to knot the score at 4.
And here's Deveined again with a clean face-off win. He's got about 10 seconds left. He's going to look to push inside. One more pass. Corrigan throws back up top to Deveined, who can't handle the pass, and that looks like that's going to be how the half end, Tom. So we are all knotted up, 4-4 at the end of the first half. Before we go to break, Tom, any first half impressions?
I think if you're Bellarmine, you have to be pretty encouraged by this. I think they really have they played well. They've had some good other scoring opportunities. I think 4-4 at halftime. I think if you told them at the beginning of the game that's what they'd be, they probably would have been okay with that. I think they've again kind of looked a little bit. They look like the little better team out there so far. Sacred Heart has some work to do in the second half.
We just got a scoring update. The score of the other semifinal game is St. Ignatius 4 and Menlo 3. So another very competitive game.
The final four teams in this playoff are very evenly matched. It really is exciting to see what the WCAL has become as a league with the addition of Sacred Heart and Menlo this past year. SI has really dominated the league with Bellarmine just maybe a step behind for much of the last 5-10 years. With the addition of an emerging Sacred Heart program and a very strong Menlo program, I think you're seeing a much more competitive league. No team went undefeated in the league this year. Sacred Heart was in first, but you had three teams tied for second, and they've all beaten each other. So very very evenly matched. The level of play in the league, I think, is very high right now. The number of kids you see committing to go play in colleges is very high, and just the quality of play is very strong in the league right now.
That's a great point, Tom. We see 5 college commits on the field today, and there's a similar number playing up in the city at SI. So with that, we will take a break for halftime and be back in a couple minutes for the second half. Thank you for joining us on NorCal Sports Network on YouTube. Welcome back to Sacred Heart Prep on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Score at the beginning of the second half, is 4-4 between Sacred Heart Prep and Bellarmine. And here we are with a face-off between Harry Mingrone and Joey Dalkemper, two junior midfielders for their respective teams.
Got the face-offs in the first half pretty even, 6-4 in Sacred Heart's favor. Looks like Joey won that one cleanly. Oh boy.
Well, unbelievably bad luck for Sacred Heart Prep. Dalkemper won the ball cleanly, was coming back to his goalie, and just lost possession.
Bellarmine goal by number 9, Harry Mingrone. And that was Mingrone just staying with it, and keeping after the ball, and picking it up and having a clean lane to the goal, and did a nice job. He shot it low and away. Which is a tough spot for a goalie to save, especially in close.
Great play by Mingrone. He chased Dalkemper down, got a trail check, and then picked up the ground ball. Great individual effort. And now we're back to Deveined at the face-off X. Dalkemper actually won that very cleanly. And this one, Deveined pulls out. Freshman Paul Barton gets his nose in there, but is not able to pick it up. And that's senior midfielder Tommy Hughes controlling possession for Bellarmine. Throws behind to Connor McCauley, number 1. McCauley back up top to Owen Bennett. Bennett up top to Cottingham. Cottingham back to Bennett. Bennett looks to engage from the left wing, carries behind to X, rolls back, and is now pushing back up the left wing, covered by freshman John Carter. And now we got a short stick matchup. Senior Johnny Carroll on defense. Good show there by Paul Barton. Beautiful save on the crease by Wiebe as Bellarmine is again able to feed an open cutter on the crease, and Wiebe races one there. That's the difference a hot goaltender can make for you, Tom.
Very much. And a fine clear there by Paul Barton. He's going to feel some pressure. Whenever a long stick gets across the midfield line, you tend to want to shut off and make that defender make a play, which is what Bellarmine did. Paul, nice clear, showed his speed. Some good stick handling, Sacred Heart possession now. And they need one. They need a possession. They need a good possession. The momentum has definitely been in Bellarmine's favor. And let's see what Sacred Heart can do.
It's a great point, Tom. This was a 4-2 ball game with a couple minutes left in the second quarter. It's now a 5-4 ball game in favor of Bellarmine. Bellarmine looks like they're dropping back into their zone. They are. We'll see what Sacred Heart Prep can do here. They're in a 1-4-1 setup. That's a classic set to try to attack a zone out of. Up top now to junior Larry Hart. Hart's going to engage the offense from up top. Throws back to junior Tommy Barnes. And that play is interrupted. Barnes gets the ball back. Throws a beautiful feed through to Crockett, who buries it on the doorstep. What vision by Barnes.
Well, he redeemed himself because he dropped that pass but showed some poise and picked the ball up under pressure and found Jack Crockett on the back side of the goal. Not an easy pass to make, but nice, well done, and also very nice finish by Jack in a little bit of traffic. That's Tommy's third assist of the day. Sacred Heart goal by number 9, Jack Crockett, his third of the day. Assist by number 7, Tommy Barnes, his third of the day.
That's an unbelievable skip pass right through the defense, a 20-yard feed. He threw that to the goal line from the restraining line, and that's going to be a push from behind on Sacred Heart Prep as Dalkemper runs over the midfielder.
Sacred Heart, Bellarmine ball.
Deveined will initiate the offense for Bellarmine as Dalkemper gets off the field and Wisel checks back in. Alex Bean is covering Jack Deveined. No need to slide there. Bean does a nice job covering him. Ball's behind with Bennett. Bennett back up top to Cottingham. Cottingham over to Joe Shea. He's already had one today. Now back over to Cottingham. Cottingham well covered again by Alex Bean. Bean's having a nice day. He had a really good play in transition earlier, pushing the ball on offense, and has done a nice job covering the Bellarmine, some of their top offensive players.
Sacred Heart is a pretty young lineup out there. There's a senior, a junior, and a couple sophomores and a freshman. They're a very young team, but showing a lot of nice poise out there today, playing against juniors and seniors largely from Bellarmine.
That's a great point, Tom. There's one senior on the field right now for Sacred Heart Prep on the defensive half of the field.
There's that deliberate pace of play by Bellarmine. Again, trying to just make the game shorter, in effect. Use your time. Try to lull the defense into maybe a bad play or bad habit or a bad slide, and try to capitalize on the mistakes.
And now's that scenario, Tom, where I would, certainly if I were Coach Rotelli, I would be pushing for a stall warning. Here's sophomore Evan Kaiser initiating from behind on senior John Carroll, the short stick D midi. That seems to be part of Bellarmine's plan today. They have isolated those guys behind the goal and are attacking that. Beautiful check by Alex Bean on Owen Bennett.
And an excellent ground ball, too. With someone on your hands, that is not an easy play to make with a short stick. Crossfield pass to William Peterson. He's trying to find an open man. He throws it back to the other side to an open Wilson Wisel.
Wisel's going to clear it himself.
I think he wisely, he saw an open man ahead of him in Alex Bean with a long stick, but again, smart play by Wisel not to pass it upfield to a long stick, which is what the defense wants. They want you to get it to a long stick upfield where they can shut off and try to get a long stick on your long stick, where it's pretty hard to retain possession. Sacred Heart getting in their offense now.
Yeah, taking their time, getting their personnel in. You see Larry Hart checks back in. Wisel comes out. Freshman Billy Barnes comes back in. Now they're ready to engage, ready to start playing offense. They're going to get back into their 1-4-1 set here, it looks like. Barnes initiates from the wing, throws behind to Crockett. Crockett covered by Dante Bravo. This is two of NorCal's finest. Bravo going to Denver next year. Crockett on his way to become a Princeton Tiger. Two really top-end recruits.
Very much. I'm impressed with the defender's game. He plays physical. He plays smart. Rarely makes a mistake.
Nice skip pass there from Jack Crockett all the way through to Larry Hart. Really nice low-to-low shot, covered up well by goalie Louis Harvey. He's a junior.
Good upfield pass. Hard to handle, but a nice handle by number 7 for Bellarmine. He gets a touch, resets the clock. Going to set up their offense.
This is senior Jack Deveined, covered again by sophomore Alex Bean. Bean calls the turnover on the previous possession behind on Bennett. And now here's that short stick matchup they're looking to attack every time.
And it's especially if you can find a short stick to attack defensive who is just on offense, because they have played a lot, maybe a little bit tired. So you're trying to isolate. You're trying to get one of your better players on the short stick defensively, and especially if they just had to go expend a lot of energy on offense.
We got our back up top. Deveined throws down to Grassman. Grassman redodges from the wing, gets stripped as he goes to the goal, and the ball lands right in Cody Weeb's pocket.
He had a good look there. He was in traffic, and fortunately for Sacred Heart, they got some sticks on. This is going to be a tough play, tough handle for Alex Bean. Coach Rotelli was trying to get a timeout, and you can see he's upset, and I think rightfully so. He was trying to get a timeout, and the ref just didn't make the call, and Bellarmine got possession. That was, again, the situation we talked earlier. If a defenseman has the ball in traffic, surrounded by players from another team, that's not what you're looking for offensively, and Coach Rotelli was trying to get a timeout to retain possession. In a game like this, 5-5, two evenly matched teams, every possession matters.
That's a great point, Tom, and that transition opportunity led to an immediate good look for Bellarmine. Weeb was all over it, though. Really took one away, and wow, what a save by Weeb there to rob J.R. Armistead right on the doorstep. Weeb is unconscious right now.
They frequently describe a goaltender's shot as standing on his head, and Cody is definitely doing that right now, right on the doorstep. Very difficult save to make. And what they teach you as a goalie in that situation is try to match sticks. And what that means is you turnover by Sacred Heart. You want your goaltender, when they're in that close, there's not much you can do. You just try to put your stick, which is 5 times the size of the offensive player's stick, right up against their cross and try to block it, and that's what he was able to do.
Oh, wow. Dante Bravo slips, is able to maintain possession through the check of Sonsini. Again, that's that Sacred Heart Prep ride we were talking about earlier. They've got a lot of speed down there, a lot of athleticism, and those guys work really hard to cover 3 with 2, and generally have forced teams into a fairly low clearing percentage all year.
Some good stick handling by Bellarmine to get it across, setting up their offense.
This is Jimmy Rowe. Not Rowe. That is Evan Kaiser again. The sophomore midfielder has been getting a lot of playing time here today and done a nice job really engaging with his defender, re-dodging down the alley, and making good decisions with the ball.
Good play by Larry Hart. Good physical defense. And you can see Bellarmine doing what they've been doing all day, trying to get the ball behind and set a lot of picks on the crease. And they've been finding open men, and they've been scoring occasionally. Cody Weeb's made a number of spectacular saves, but they're getting people open.
This is sophomore Justin Lee on the dodge down the right alley. Gets a shot off to the far low corner that Weeb was all over again. I'm not sure if Weeb was able to save that. He certainly was all over it. I'm not sure if he needed to save it. Here's nice Jack Brigger all over Corrigan, really tying him up. Put the ball on the ground once. Now Corrigan gets a step inside, throws behind. This looks like Owen Bennett, the junior attackman, covered by John Carter, gets a step. Carter makes a nice check on in the gloves, forcing the ball to the ground, and Weeb's able to...
With another excellent play by Jack Brigger. He stripped the player right before that, and then he came over and helped out his teammate and helped get the ball onto the ground again for Weeb to pick it up and clear.
I think one of the things you're seeing from Weeb right now is not only is he seeing the ball well and making some fantastic saves, but he's got great poise in the clear. He puts his defenders and midfielders in a position where they can make easy plays, and I think that's actually a huge asset for Sacred Heart Prep right now, who things have gotten a little bit chaotic for them, especially offensively and trying to transition the ball out of the defensive end. I think Weeb's a real safety blanket back there.
Absolutely, he's calm, as a great goaltender is. He's calm under pressure. Bellarmine has been applying a lot more pressure than I certainly expected coming into this today. They're known for kind of sitting back more into a zone. They're playing aggressively on Sacred Heart's hands. Larry Hart gets a step and makes a fantastic shot. And what I loved about that shot, it was a great take. He got his hands free. He shot a bouncer, and you just don't see bouncers as much these days. I think kids see people ripping the ball high and hard and hitting the top corners. And those are great goals. Let's not forget those are great goals. But a bouncer is almost a lost art. And Larry Hart puts one on the ground there. Fantastic goal. Hard for the goalie to make that save.
Larry Hart.
Sacred Heart goal by number 2, Larry Hart, unassisted.
That's a really important goal for Sacred Heart Prep here, Tom. It really calms things down. It puts them back in the lead. And now a face-off win for Dalkemper. Mangrone does a nice job of tying him up and making it a tough ground ball. We'll see who, this looks like Peterson coming out of the pile. And they're going to call that a push on Bellarmine. Bellarmine, Paul Barton will restart the ball. And it looks like a timeout, Sacred Heart Prep.
No first of the half.
So we'll take a break for this timeout and be right back. Welcome back to Palatella Field, home of the Sacred Heart Prep Gators. We have 1 minute and 11 seconds left remaining in the third quarter. Sacred Heart Prep is up 6-5. They will be clearing the ball starting at their own restraining line in their defensive half with sophomore Wilson Wisel.
You saw a strategic use of a timeout by Coach Ritelli again. In these close games, every possession matters. You only get 2 timeouts, so you got to use them wisely. But a possession it changes the momentum. You can take a couple minutes off the clock. And again, it's a very strategic use of a timeout by Coach Ritelli. He has 1 left.
Just like we saw from Bellarmine in the first half, that possession really matters. And Bellarmine was able to score off of their timeout. We'll see what Sacred Heart Prep does here. They love running that play out of the timeout. It's a great play. It's a little back seal for the guy coming up from the backside with some motion off of the top. And I've seen that work with great success for them earlier in the season. They were able to generate a good look there, just unable to convert.
They did get a good look. I think the thing you need to do as an attackman on a play like that is back up the shot. And Sacred Heart did not back up that time. So it was a good play, well executed, but they didn't finish it. They didn't get the backup. And so Bellarmine did, and Bellarmine gets possession and is attacking now on offense.
Armistead throws behind to Bennett. Bennett's going to push back up the right wing from X. A nice double team from Peterson. Able to get a pass off and a fairly low angle shot that didn't really challenge Weeby much to end the third quarter. Sacred Heart Prep up 6-5.
Really good double there, as you pointed out. The clock was winding down. There was not a lot of time left. Clearly, they were trying to attack the goal in a one-on-one situation. Sacred Heart, William Peterson, I believe, doubled and did not give them a lot of opportunity there. So at the end of the third, Sacred Heart 6, Bellarmine 5. Really, some things different than maybe we thought coming in, and then some things very much as we thought. 2 very evenly matched teams. They've been basically trading the lead the whole game, and it's going to be a very exciting fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's well said, Tom. I think the score is probably a little bit higher than we anticipated, at least based on their regular season matchup. Sacred Heart won that one 6-3, so already 2 more combined goals scored, and we have a whole fourth quarter still to go. So a little bit more up-tempo. Two good goalies, I'd say. I think Weeb has certainly been the better of the 2. Very impressed with him so far today. How many saves does he have so far today, Tom?
He had 5 in the first half, and I think he probably had 4 in that period. So I think he has 9 at least. And it's the number. It's also the quality. Some of these saves have been on the doorstep. Very difficult saves. He's made all the easy ones. He's made a lot of hard ones too. So he's playing very, very well. Just showing the quality of the teams on the field today. There's a service called Max Preps, which rates teams based on computer algorithms, and they have Sacred Heart ranked 9th in the state of California right now, and Bellarmine ranked 29th. They have Sacred Heart ranked 42nd nationally, and Bellarmine 259th. That 259th seems a little off to me, but these 2 very good teams. And in the Northern California rankings, Sacred Heart is ranked 2nd, and Bellarmine is ranked 10th. So you're seeing 2 fine lacrosse teams playing here today in Northern California.
Yeah, and that 10th ranking may reflect their overall record more than the quality of some of their wins, Tom. Bellarmine ended the season just over 500, but with big wins over what are considered some of the best teams in Northern California.
But I think they have one of the most impressive win and biggest upset of the year, which was beating San Ramon Valley, a team that is the number 1 ranked team in Northern California. And I think when that score was posted, a lot of people were shocked. Of course, Bellarmine, a very good team, but SRV has really been at a different level this year relative to other teams in Northern California. I don't believe they've lost to anybody else, and so that was Bellarmine's capable of beating anyone, as we're seeing today.
That's right. Interesting on that first face-off of this quarter, Tom. We saw Sacred Heart Prep go with the 2 long stick midfielders, Alex Bean and Paul Barton, both on the face-off wings. as the face-offs have gotten more competitive in this game, it's turned into more of a fight up there. It looks like Coach Rotelli wants to have 2 long sticks up to help control the ground balls.
It's an adjustment he makes in situations where he really, really wants the ground ball. And there's some risk because you then have a short stick back on defense. So if they get it, they can bring it down, and you kind of you're a little exposed on defense if you don't get the ball. Fine play, Jack Crockett to Billy Barnes. Billy Barnes rips it wide.
That's misses. That 2 great examples there of making an extra pass to a better shooting opportunity. Larry Hart the first time to Crockett. Crockett wasn't able to handle, and then off of the ground ball, Crockett pushes it up, makes a nice one more pass to Barnes, who's unable to convert, but does a great job, as we talked about earlier in the day, getting more positive angle into the middle of the field to generate a better look. Now Barnes initiates down the right wing, throws behind. This looks like Crockett. Crockett again from X on Bravo. Bravo covers him well. Back up to Tommy Barnes, to Larry Hart. And now we have Joe Sonsini, the junior attackman, is going to dodge the right wing. Look to roll back. Looked like he was looking inside there for Billy Barnes on the crease. Barnes was well covered. He opts to throw behind. Now back up top to Hart. Hart to Billy Barnes.
Nice deliberate possession here by Sacred Heart. They're not forcing it. They're looking. They're looking to the middle, as you pointed out. Keeping the ball moving, trying to find a soft spot, and Bellarmine's playing good defense, but and Sacred Heart's being patient. And we're down to 9.5 minutes here in the game. Larry Hart winding up, fakes. Didn't see what he liked.
I like his choice not to shoot there, Tom. With the right hand there. He had angle, but it wasn't a great angle. With the way this game is going, throwing away a possession on an easy low-angle save isn't necessarily what you're looking for.
Tommy Barnes winds up and shoots off cage, but good backup. If anything, gives Sacred Heart a little bit of a breather there, and gets a chance to reset with 9 minutes left in the game.
And it keeps the stall warning off of them too. Mm-hmm. All right, they'll have another 30 or 40 seconds here to run clock. Look to generate a good shot, but not have to worry about keeping the ball in the box, which they would have had to do, I believe, had they not generated a shot fairly soon on that possession. A really clean game so far here today, Tom. We've only seen 1 penalty through 3+ quarters of lacrosse. That was taken advantage of by Sacred Heart Prep in the second quarter. The only goal they scored in that quarter, actually. Absolutely right. It's been a very clean game, and I think these offenses are good enough to make you pay if you do get a penalty. So both teams, and it's been a physical game, which is good. It's good, clean, physical lacrosse. You can see Sacred Heart Prep here on offense. They're playing out of a 1-4-1. They're looking to throw back off of the dodge against the rotating defense. There's a screen by Larry Hart that Crockett is able to step into and just sail one wide. Again, good backup by Sacred Heart. Billy Barnes coming off the field, subbing on, bringing on Wilson Wisel, some fresh legs. They've been on offense for a while. I think they want to get, you may even see Wilson Wisel dodge with the fresh legs. We'll see. Yeah, this has been almost a 2-minute-long possession at this point in time, Tom. Nice job by Bellarmine on defense, really limiting good looks. And there's a great look inside. Beautiful pass by Barnes inside to Sonsini. He's just unable to convert. Having just said that, Bellarmine's doing a good job limiting their shots. Sacred Heart Prep has still been able to generate some really quality looks. And there's a beautiful goal by Larry Hart, who absolutely crushes the top corner. Taken off by number 2, Larry Hart. Beautiful play. Larry Hart steps out over the top. Crockett with a great feed. Assist by Jack Crockett. And, what may go unnoticed on that play is a really smart play by Joe Sonsini. He's the inside attackman. He makes contact with his defenseman as if he's going to break out, and then back cut him to the crease, which opened up that space for Hart to step down into from up top. And did he step down? That was a rip. It was fun to watch that. He really got his body into the shot and turned over and just stuck it. Clean win for Dahlkemper. If they can score here, and they don't, dangerous opportunity for Sacred Heart Prep. That could have been sort of the play that may have really swung things to their advantage if they had been able to go up 3 on 2 quick goals. Tough scenario for Bellarmine. As it is, Sacred Heart Prep maintains possession and is going to generate a good look immediately, and they're able to back up the shot with Sonsini.
It was pretty close, but Joe Sonsini is very quick, very fast young man, and was able to beat the goalie to the spot.
Sonsini re-engages now, up the wing to Wisel. Wisel covered by Jacob Michael, the senior long stick midfielder. And now Larry Hart engages up top, throws back to Barnes. Barnes well covered there by number 17, Jacob Michael again. And Bellarmine is staying in this zone despite the long possession Sacred Heart Prep has had and the current scenario. You got to expect that if Sacred Heart Prep scores here, Bellarmine's going to have to come out of their zone.
I would agree with that. It's if you give Sacred Heart 2 3-minute possessions, you're going to run out of time. So I think they're going to have to, and I think they're going to have to come out probably with 3-4 minutes left either way.
Great. I would also think Bellarmine's got to be thinking, what can they do differently on faceoffs? Del Kemper's done a really nice job the last couple ones maintaining possession for Sacred Heart Prep. And at this point in time, it's been 4 or 5 minutes since Bellarmine touched the ball on offense. There's a great look for Sacred Heart Prep. Billy Barnes shoots it just wide of the net, but Sacred Heart Prep's able to back up and maintain possession again. This is one of the wilder things about lacrosse, Tom. You can, if you miss a shot in just about any other sport, you lose possession. In lacrosse, you can back it up, maintain possession, and get to keep playing offense. And Sacred Heart Prep is really grinding them down here in the fourth quarter.
Just keep taking time off the clock. I'm sure Coach Ritelli is happy with the way this offensive possession has gone. Joe Sonsini gets a step. Fine save by the goalie.
And senior defenseman Dante Bravo got a little overextended there, missed the pass. You want to teach young defensemen, you're not going for the pick there. You're just going to disrupt the pass by checking down on the gloves. And I think had Bravo done that, he would have had better success. And we got a timeout by Bellarmine. So with 5:21 remaining, we have a 7-5 game in favor of Sacred Heart Prep. And we'll step away for a quick break. We're back live now. 5:21 remaining in the fourth quarter. Bellarmine is going to start with the ball behind. Looks like junior attackman Owen Bennett has it. Throws over to Connor McCauley. McCauley up top to Ben Cottingham. Cottingham dodges the right wing against Paul Barton. Throws back to Deveined. Deveined to Kyle.
Nice save by Cody again. Had a good look, a clean look by number 7. No one on him. It was a good throwback to get him the ball in the position to get a clean shot. Cody saw it all the way, though. And it was, we talked earlier about where to shoot. And that was it was high to high, which is not a particularly hard shot for a goalie who can see the ball to make that save.
And a great, unbelievable outlet by Weeb to find Barnes deep down the field. Nothing was open in front of him. Again, very patient, great poise, and Sacred Heart, again, able to get possession. And I would expect them to take their time and get another long possession here, Tom.
4:20 left on the clock, absolutely. I think Sacred Heart would love to chew up some clock here. If they have an open look, would you take it, Greg, if you have a really open shot right now?
Absolutely.
Looks like they did, as you predicted. Good backup by Sacred Heart. They retain possession. 4:10 to go.
All right, two goals doesn't necessarily make you comfortable as a coach with 4 minutes remaining. 3 goals makes you a lot more comfortable, especially with a timeout in your back pocket to burn in case things get sideways. that 3-goal lead is big. And
good play there by Wisel. Little things make a difference. Wilson had someone on his hands, and in this, you really cannot afford a turnover right now. And instead of making the pass with a man on his hands, he just did a burst of speed, got his hands free, made the pass, kept the possession alive.
There's senior attackman Teddy Vaught, covered behind by Cottingham. That's a shorty matchup. You had 2 short sticks behind with Vaught and Sonsini right now, 2 attackmen. This looks like this is part of Sacred Heart Prep's game plan. They're going to keep the ball behind with these 2 guys. Look to attack the short stick. A little bit of a quicker shot than I would have expected off of that play.
Good ground ball.
Wisel, smart play to get the ball into Barnes. And Barnes is pushing now, pulls the ball back out to maintain possession.
Pretty smart play there, I think. I think that was the right decision. There were people in front of him, and just if you can hold it, if you really don't have a clean shot or a clear lane, I think Coach Ritelli probably wants him to pull the ball back like he did there.
That's right.
Under 3 minutes.
And now we'll see the short sticks getting attacked again. And they send an early double team with Bravo to flush that off the ball.
Tough pass there. Bellarmine picks it up, looking to clear. Alex Bean comes up. I think we're going to have a timeout by Bellarmine.
That's right. Yeah, anytime you see a long stick get covered by a long stick in transition right now, that's a dangerous point in time for the clearing team. Alex Bean was all over the clearing defenseman. Coach Alpazar wisely calls a timeout. I believe that's his final timeout of this half. It
is. They have used both of their timeouts. So 2:30 left, 7-5, Sacred Heart. Really good, high-quality lacrosse game. As you pointed out earlier, it's physical, but it's clean. Haven't been a lot of penalties. Haven't been a lot of things I think the refs have missed either. I think it's a very well-refereed game. Really cool to see today, Tom. A big crowd here at Sacred Heart Prep, but beyond that, a very young crowd. It seems like the youth lacrosse players of the peninsula have really made it out to this game and are really engaging with their high school lacrosse teams, which is great to see. It's a fast-growing sport in Northern California. It's I think you see a lot more kids, many of whom maybe played football or want to keep playing football, but want to kind of keep a physical sport in the spring. You see more kids playing lacrosse. There's some fantastic youth programs in the area. Actually, a number of these kids I know have played against each other for the last 5 to 7 years, playing youth lacrosse together in a program, whether it be the Firehawks or the Tomahawks or the Grizzlies, as well as on travel teams like Advance. And here we go. We're getting started back up. Bennett throws the ball behind. This is Deveined. Deveined back up top. Armistead gets the ball. And tough to tell her what Bellarmine is in here. They seem to be floating in and out of a couple different sets, really looking more than anything for action on the crease. And they found it with a cutting Armistead. Bellarmine goal by number 8, John Armistead. You know, it's not the prettiest lacrosse, Tom. It almost looks like spaghetti in there. Just a whole bowl of noodles mixing around, or a bowl of amoebas or something. And all of a sudden, Armistead pops out, open on the crease, and is able to finish. It's exciting. It's 2 minutes to go, and you're right. That's very difficult to defend all the motion and all the picks. As a defenseman, you would much rather your player just be standing still. Bellarmine does not allow Sacred Heart to do that. They're running a lot of picks, a lot of screens, and they've been able to find some open men on the crease for some pretty easy shots. Looks like a legal procedure on Sacred Heart. Yeah. Procedure on Sacred Heart. Bellarmine ball. Deveined is going to look to push the ball early in transition here. Gets a shot off, and Weeb is all over it. It's that high-to-high shot you were talking about earlier, Tom. With a goalie like Weeb who's seeing the ball as well as he is, it's going to be hard to score. He saw it well. He is seeing the ball well. It was a good shot, a hard shot. But if you're going high to high, you either got to be, you got to be. I bet you Coach Fratelli's looking for a timeout.
Yeah,
here.
you can see him on the field.
He is on. He's not happy with the pace at which the referees made that call. He'd been yelling for a timeout for 2 or 3 seconds, and fortunately, Chris, as many of you know, Chris was a great lacrosse player, an all-time great. He showed some of his speed there, running down the sideline to get to the referee in order to make that timeout call. Greg, why don't you tell us a little bit about Coach Fratelli and his playing career?
Sure. So Coach Fratelli was a multi-time All-American at the University of Virginia. He actually won something called the Tewarton Award, which is lacrosse's equivalent of the Heisman Trophy. So he was considered the absolute best player his senior year in all of college lacrosse. He led the Cavaliers to a national championship in 2003, his senior year, and then was the first overall draft pick in the professional league, the MLL. And he played for a couple different teams, Ohio Machine and the San Francisco Dragons, which is how he ultimately ended up in Northern California.
And while I never had the pleasure of either playing against Chris or watching him play, I have heard he was incredibly fast.
He was incredibly fast. He also shot the ball incredibly hard. I had the, I don't know if I'd call it the pleasure of playing against him as the Cavaliers beat us pretty badly that year en route to the national championship. But he was a heck of a competitor and an unbelievable player, and you see that transfer over to his coaching style. He's a leader of men naturally, and you see that in the way his kids respond to his coaching, how hard they play for him. You see it in the ride, you see it on ground balls. It's very impressive.
He's got over an 80% win record here at Sacred Heart and has now won 5 consecutive league or tournament titles. Here we go, a minute and a half left. Tommy Barnes with the ball, trying to get a touch, which he does, to reset the clock.
Right now with the lead inside of 2 minutes, Sacred Heart Prep is going to have to keep the ball inside of the box. You see Barnes did a really smart thing there, actually ran down into the alley and then entered the box from the side. He's going to come around and score one here to give Sacred Heart Prep a 2-goal lead with a minute and 11.
Sacred Heart forward by number 2, Tommy Barnes, his second of the day.
That's a big goal for the Gators, Tom, to put them back up 2 with a minute remaining. A lot is going to come down to this face-off and any potential ensuing ones.
That's the kind of shot, Chris, too, as a coach. If it goes in, you say, great shot. If it gets saved, you say, what was he thinking? Because could have led to a turnover and a possession by the other team.
That's right.
But Tommy made a nice fake. He got the goalie moving with a high fake, a high ball fake, and then shot, I think, low and away, which is what you need to do in tight.
Yeah, he did a really nice job of keeping his feet going, continuing to move into the middle of the field, increasing his angle. And here we go, Sacred Heart Prep ball off of a conduct. It looked like a push from behind.
Push from behind, Sacred Heart ball.
Now Bean is going to carry into the box with his long stick.
Dangerous move. This is not, if you're Sacred Heart, if you had a timeout, you would probably use it there, but there are no timeouts left. Fight for the ball now. And I think Sacred Heart would like to keep it on this end of the field, would like to have this be a long ground ball battle as the clock ticks down to 45 seconds.
That's right. Sacred Heart Prep is totally content if this ball does not get picked up for 45 seconds.
It remains Sacred Heart ball.
And now, Tom, I would look for a quick double team from Bellarmine as their goalie comes out of the goal to send one away. That allows you to double team the ball.
The goalie's out, actually. They have
That's right.
pulled the goalie out, which you don't see that often.
So desperation time here for Bellarmine.
And get the ball back to Barnes, over to Wisel.
And Sacred Heart Prep is not going to shoot here, I wouldn't expect. They're just going to hold on to it, let this thing burn down with 15 seconds left, and hold on for a semifinal win. And this is the way it's going to end. 8-6 is the final from Palaquella Field at Sacred Heart Prep as the Gators advance to play in the WCAL final on Friday.
Final score, Sacred Heart Prep 8, Bellarmine 6. Please join us for the WCAL Finals on Friday at 3:30 at Sacred Heart Field. What a game. I think it was a really well-played game. Both teams, they left it all on the field today. As you said, very few penalties, physical lacrosse, not a lot of turnovers. Well coached, I think, on both sides of the field. Strategic use of timeouts. Sacred Heart again has now won 3 in a row versus Bellarmine after losing the first 11 games against Bellarmine over the last 10 years.
And so looks like the Gators are going to end up playing the St. Ignatius Wildcats in the WCAL final. The latest scoring report we've got is that it is 9-6 game SI over Menlo, and that's going to be coming close to a final as well. So it looks like Friday afternoon at 3:30 here at Palatella, the Gators will be hosting the Wildcats in the WCAL final. Sacred Heart Prep, this is their first year in the league. To be playing in a final is pretty special for them.
Final scoring for Sacred Heart. 2 goals by Jack Crockett with 1 assist. 2 goals by Tommy Barnes with 3 assists. 2 goals by Larry Hart. 1 goal by Billy Barnes.